Okay, I'm hearing less and less now, so I think we're a little quiet. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Everybody should know that I'm Brian, the Vice President. Mike is here. He just didn't want everybody to see his face the whole time, so I'm up doing the announcements today. So yeah, welcome. New year. Good turnout for, nice weather we had today. So I guess first thing would be is, I guess we can say, is there any new members? Any new members here today? I think probably not. Bill would probably know if we have anybody, or if anybody's on Zoom that are new members. Bill, do you know if we have any new recent members? No, online? No.
No, not online.
No. Okay. My mom is here today. I have to send her out.
Hey, I'm an old member.
Yeah.
Very old member. Actually, probably 1996.
I just had a few trips here to meet everybody and see everybody with my dad before the COVID hit, and then he passed away, so it is nice to have him here. So, and then memberships. Just a reminder, I guess, if there's anybody who has not renewed their membership, to please do that soon. We do have the PDF version and the paper version. So whether there's people that aren't here, that are definitely throughout Canada or US, yeah, just a reminder to get that done.
Question.
Yes.
Okay, I think I paid my dues, but I'm not 100% sure. Is there some place on the website that I can go to see?
Well, I can ask Bill. I think if you log in, you'll know if you can access certain parts of the website. Is that correct?
Okay, that means I did pay because I got the new login name and password.
Ben, you have paid your dues, David. You're all set.
You're good.
Thank you.
All right. I guess we can say, is there the, yeah, we'll get to that. Is there anybody that needs anything? I need a part, I need a record, don't ask for money, yeah.
I'm going to say I need some money to buy something.
Yeah, I can't help you there. Maybe there's people online that are willing to throw money out, they're willing to speak up. But yeah, yes.
Looking for some exhibition material.
Okay, so to rebuild one?
Yeah.
I've got that, I can help you with that. Talk to you there. What was your name again? Alex? Yeah, I can certainly help you with that. Actually, that was a good reminder. I found 2 customers recently that have mentioned that they cannot get springs from the phonograph shop. I don't know if it's a logistics thing or if he's finding the customs too much to work with to ship to Canada. I honestly don't know because I haven't talked to Brian specifically, but if there's anything that you need from the phonograph shop, I do put in orders every couple months, and with discounts and shipping, whatever, I can usually give it to you about the same price as what you could at his price. Let me know. If there's anything, springs, whatever you need from the phonograph shop, and you cannot get it shipped to Canada, or you want to deal through me, you can, even if it's across Canada, because I've just shipped 2 springs to people. And that's only because they said they wanted it. They knew exactly where to get it in the phonograph shop, but for some reason, I think it's the website that says cannot ship to Canada. So they ordered it for me. I just happen to have it in stock. There's a couple parts that I know a customer needs. They don't have it. I said, let me know. Next time I put in an order, I'll add it to my stuff, ship it off to you. So that's something if anybody needs that. Anything else?
Is that going to be subject to a 25% tariff?
Okay. All right. The fine print is no. To say I do have the fortunate shipping to the States, which does make a big difference. So let me know. I always have needles. If anybody needs needles, I do keep them in stock all the time and have some at the meeting.
Do you have any cotton cleanser?
I have some. I don't have anything to sell, but I have some that I use. And if it's something that you want from the phonograph shop, I could. Yeah. But I do. If you think the last time you may have been out of stock, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can. I haven't seen it in Canada. Anybody know?
No.
Cotton cleanser?
I bought it from Ryan at the phonograph shop. He usually has it in stock. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else need anything? Zoom, anybody need anything? Speak up. Anybody in the room?
I need more time to finish rebuilding my machines.
I'm short on that too, so if you know of anybody or anything or powers that be that can give you that, let me know. Because yeah, I think everybody has that problem. Yeah. Okay, the next thing was discussed. As you notice, I don't have a name tag like everybody else does, because I kind of got into the vice president position, almost a little over a year ago now. And we were talking about me taking over my dad's name tag, but of course, I'd have to take off a couple letters and, but anyway. So we discussed if there's anybody, because I would honestly say as a vice president, I don't know probably half of your names. If anybody's interested in name tag, I am interested in, we'll have a nice little, do a little turn and
And we'll try to get them
walk the
without
catwalk.
Now, Brian's
Want
dad.
to show them up to the Zoom?
Yeah.
Well, Zoom people
Sorry,
don't need
yeah,
it,
no,
obviously.
But Brian's dad got these for us many, many years ago, when he was president, and I've always kept mine. It's an old pin one, but I think if we got them today, we'd get the magnetic ones that you can just pop on. So if anybody's interested in having a name badge, Brian's going to get a quote for what something like this would cost, and he'll let you know next time. And then if there's enough, well, he's going to order one for himself anyway.
Yes.
But if you want them, he'll let you know the cost, and you can tell him then.
Yeah, if you're a regular and you're here enough and you think, yeah, I'm gonna come, I'll try not to forget it at home and have a name tag. So-
I'll remind him.
Oh, I'll remember, but I don't know, you can't remember everybody in the room. So, I don't know, everybody has a mom that they can remind, but yes, so I think that's just about it, except for, oh, did you have something?
No, I was just saying that.
Okay, next meeting, we are still up in the air, but have a discussion on a show and tell of maybe some unique or unusual phonographs, record players. I don't know if it matters from an era, does it electric or just
anything old?
anything
kind of,
old, unusual. Alexander's gonna try and head that up for next meeting if he can put everything together. He'll talk to anybody that's interested, so approach him or he might approach you if you've got anything. Zoom, if there's anybody that they can do it from Zoom too, I'm sure, if they're
Yeah,
able
for
to
sure.
just show it at their, station and just tell about their unusual phonograph. It might be something small, I don't know, even sometimes kids have little unusual things, but
Yeah, for sure.
phonographs. But if you got something that's different and something that's maybe even rare, something that you can't bring in, I'm sure we could probably have pictures of, but preferably if it's something you can bring in, that would be preferable.
Yeah.
Just to have some unusual things to talk about. So it's a show and tell of more unusual stuff as opposed to just, this is my favorite, which we've done in the past, so. Anything like that, talk to Alexander. Okay, I think that's it, except for the meeting, presentation, which I forget what your presentation was about, so why don't you introduce your own presentation? That's my own fault for forgetting what the presentation was about. I'll leave it to you.
You did a great job. Thank
Yeah.
you, Brian.
Thank you.
Well done. On camera, not, where should I stand?
A little further this way, because if you're in front of the screen,
I didn't want to.
it's too light.
Can I stand here?
No.
No? So
Okay,
if you want to be there, just move the camera around.
No, but the problem is that the breaks, the screen behind him.
Should I turn the, see if we can get one of the lights on? Yeah, I will.
Video? Yeah.
How does that work?
That's worse, yeah.
Does that work for you, Mike? Can you see your notes okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Actually, I have an
I'm more concerned about the screen being visible when the movies are playing.
This will work better. See, the problem is if the screen's behind you, the brightness screws up the contrast.
Now, can they see the screen okay with that in a way?
Yeah.
Mike, maybe just ask people at home, because we've talked about microphones, ask them if they can hear okay.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So, my name's Mike DeCecco. I'm doing today's presentation, and I'm going to be covering the Nicholas brothers. So I got a question to begin. Prior to the announcement of today's meeting, who had heard of the Nicholas brothers before? Well, that's pretty good, maybe about a third.
Move that way.
You want me to move? Okay. And how about online? Had many of you heard of the Nicholas brothers before? Oh, I see one hand up. Yeah, couple? Okay, great. The reason I ask is that I didn't know who they were prior to me putting this presentation together. And as I started to research about them, I was amazed at the talent that they had. And it seems that so many people don't know about it. Like even in my family, or I mentioned the name to my mother, and I thought, well, she would know. No, I never heard of the Nicholas Brothers. So unfortunately, it's one of those acts that sort of got forgotten about over the ages. And as I found in my research, part of that was due to the racism that was in place at the time that they were popular, which made it so that they can never be starring actors and dancers like others of their time who were white. So some of that will come out in the presentation. The main thing I'm trying to do today is to give you an overview of the duo and show some of their, I would say, better clips from some of their movies. Fortunately, they made many films over the years, and they're usually little bit parts in the films. And we can talk about why it ended up being like that. But I think at the end of the presentation today, you'll get a feel for how talented they were and just what they contributed in general to the entertainment industry. And hopefully in the end, you'll be entertained by what you see from them. So the Nicholas brothers themselves were two. There was the older brother, his name was Fayard, and he was born in 1914. He passed away in 2006. And his younger brother was Harold. He was born in 1921, and he passed away in 2000. So the younger brother passed away before the older brother. And they were amazing dancers who were active from basically the late 1920s until around the 1990s. They were really quite old. Now, Mark, I just remembered, you wanted me to ask the Zoom audience, can you all hear me okay? Maybe give me a hands up or something. Is my voice coming through? Right, I'm seeing hands up, that's great. Okay, you can hear us. And initially, nothing makes a presenter more nervous than when you have the video clips and the sound's not working. So I think Mark and Alexander fixed that, so hopefully things will come out okay. Back to our presentation. So I'm going to give an outline of their career. I'm going to show some clips from their movies that they made over time. And I thought I would explain to you, how did I find out about the Nicholas brothers? When I was probably, I'm guessing maybe 11, 12, 13, something like that, I saw a movie on TV, Orchestra Wives by the Glenn Miller's band was in it. And I watched it mainly because I liked the big band music at the time. And during one of the songs, towards the end, these two guys come out dancing. And I think, holy, like they blew me away. I didn't know who they were or anything about them. And this was so long ago. It was probably in the late 1960s, early 70s. And I had remembered that, and that was it. And of course, YouTube comes along, and I'm able to find the clip. And then it says at the end of the movie, oh, this was the Nicholas brothers. So then you can start researching more and more. And as I looked into the Nicholas brothers more, I was surprised at how young they were when they started and how late they continued performing. There's clips of them on the Ed Sullivan Show. Basically, a lot of the shows that were popular in the 60s, entertainment, and these guys were probably in their mid-50s by then, they were still able to dance. And then later on, they ended up teaching some famous performers, which we'll get into too. So they really had a very long career. But it was that Glenn Miller movie I saw as a kid that is always stuck in the back of my mind. In terms of their talent, they were able to play for 9 different presidents over the years. And in 1948, they gave a command performance for the King of England. They were that big a star at the time. They also have a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. As I did the research, there's so many awards that were given to them, I couldn't begin to list them all. But they did get a lot of recognition in one way, and then at the same time, they were kept back and held in a restricted form in their career because of racism of the day. The oldest, who is Fayard, F-A-Y-A-R-D, he was born in Mobile, Alabama in 1914, and his younger brother Harold was born in North Carolina in 1921. Their mother was Viola, and she was a pianist, and their father, his name was Dominic, he was a drummer. So the parents were both college-educated musicians who played in their own band at a place called the Standard Theater in Philadelphia. And that's where the family had moved in 1926. So at an early age, the two brothers are sitting in the front seats of this theater and they're watching all the performers. And they're being blown away by the talent that's there. And so they would later try to copy and imitate for their friends what they saw on stage. And they got a lot of attention like that, so they sort of found a way to be popular kids on the blocks. They were both relatively short in stature. Fayard was 5'4", and Harold was only 5'2". You'll get a glimpse of that in the movies that I play, because you can see just really how short they are compared to others, but it didn't stop them from moving. Neither had any formal dance training, and Fayard taught himself how to sing and dance by watching what he saw on stage or in films at the time, and then he taught his younger sister, her name was Dorothy, several of the routines, and he also taught his younger brother, Harold, and so the three of them were known as the Nicholas kids. Dorothy, which was probably typical at the time, eventually dropped out of the act. She got married, wanted to start a family, whatever. So then it just became the two brothers, and they became known as the Nicholas brothers. Their rise to stardom was actually quite fast. Word spread around Philadelphia, and they soon began performing at various theaters around the town. They became the featured act for 2 years at Harlem's Cotton Club in 1932, when Fayard was 18 and Harold was 11. They would perform in legendary black orchestras such as Lucky Malinder, Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Jimmy Lunsford. These were all top name bands at the time. So they were one of the acts that would follow the orchestras on there and dance along with the orchestras. And it was while they were at the Cotton Club in 1932 that they were signed to make their first movie. It's a short for Vitaphone. And Vitaphone at the time was a division of Warner Brothers, and they would often make shorts of, they were about maybe sometimes 11 minutes long, sometimes 20 minutes long. And that would be the film you see before the feature. So a film was made, they weren't even credited. It was called, I want to get this right, it's a strange thing. Pie Blackbird, P-I-E. And it featured U.B. Blake. He was really the main star of the film. So I'm going to use that as the first video that I'm showing. And we're just watching the last part of the movie, not with U.B. Blake. So the scenario is, it's kind of corny, and it's a low-budget film. So they got this giant pie, and the orchestra is sitting in the pie playing. And then the two brothers come out. Oh, can we just start from the beginning? Yeah. And they come out and dance. And some people say the ending is in poor taste, but I'll leave that up to you. But the music is good, and again, this is their very first film. So it's 1932.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Share it first.
Let's get the picture big.
This one? Yeah.
This is actually available on a DVD set. It's on YouTube. He's 11 years old. Yeah. Am I?
The synchronization
Yeah.
with the music, the steps with the visual and the music.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Especially the last film I'm going to show, I'm saving it for the end because I think it's the best one. Yeah, the synchronization with the music was incredible.
Yeah.
And also, when you read the comments of these things, you'll see the older brother Fayard watching his younger brother, and he's standing there smiling like he's so proud of him. So they really worked so well as a team.
Right?
Yeah. Want me to move on?
Yeah, only because there's lights flashing on your head.
Okay. So that's a taste of the talent they had. And again, Harold was 11 years old at the time. I found that incredible. And they weren't even credited in the film. That was it. They were just some newfound act that somebody saw playing in a nightclub, so we'll stick them in this film. So moving on, their first big Hollywood break came when Samuel Goldwyn saw them at the Cotton Club and invited them to California to be part of the movie Kid Millions, which was done in 1934. You know about the movie, Don?
Oh, yeah, Merman?
Yeah, it's a musical, and I'm almost a little hesitant to show it in a way. It's a mainly white cast. It was starring Ethel Merman and Eddie Cantor, and Don, I'm sure you can tell me a lot of other artists that were in it too.
I just remember Ethel, of course,
Yeah.
and Eddie Cantor was, I think, one of the greatest entertainers ever. I think that, I could be wrong, I think the film was the basis for the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp thing. I could be wrong about that. But Johnny was mentioning there. Or maybe Willy Wonka or whatever. They went back and referred to Kid Millions.
Yeah, the thing that struck me in watching, and you'll see in this clip, is how there's a definite contrast between the white performers and the blacks. And at this part in the movie, they're apparently putting on a minstrel show. And so they have Eddie Cantor in blackface, which of course today would be so politically correct. You could just ask our former prime minister about that. Right? And so the film climaxes with the minstrel show for a white audience, and at the same time they bring in the Nicholas brothers. And apparently they were already starting to get the reputation. It's like, well, we can't compete with them. But you'll see in this film how Eddie Cantor's trying to dance with the Nicholas brothers, and at the end he just says, oh, forget it, he just walks away. Because he knows like they're just so good. So I'd like to show movie number 2. The movie's called Kid Millions from 1934. And this is towards the end. You can't get the picture any bigger, huh?
The videos, I don't think so.
Let me see. I just want to, in the room, I'm trying to get the picture bigger. Hopefully on Zoom, that's better.
It's not really any bigger.
No? Oh, wow. So just see the contrast between the black and white audiences,
1 second.
the performers, and
Thing going on too. Is there a song they go about Mammy?
yeah, but I didn't put it in here because we wouldn't have enough time.
Yeah.
That's big enough.
Who started?
Yes, please, go ahead. And there's the Nicholas brothers.
wedding time, bring a happy time for Mandy and
Thank you. What did you think of the contrast between the white performers and then the Nicholas brothers? Was it like so different?
You didn't notice a thing.
You did.
They painted them pretty well.
I found interesting was that Eddie Cantor's blackface was double or triple the darkness of the two African Americans, the Nicholas brothers, were dancing.
Yeah.
And it was not only a sharp contrast, but I find it offensive.
Oh, please.
Great, thank you. Again, no, go ahead.
On the other hand, I think that it was interesting to see how in the movie the black performers were able to tell him off and put him down. That was very interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
yeah, yeah. Good point, thank you. So I'm gonna move on. Okay. In researching the article, I found that, I've got to tie it into the club, right? They did actually make a few 78s, apparently in the 30s, but they were known more for their dancing and they were much more of a visual act. So I found, I think, 2 78s listed on Discogs, and they came out in about the mid-30s. They're on HMV, apparently weren't big sellers. And then later on in the late 50s, there was a mini album set. It was like it's size of a 45 and it had like 6 songs on it. And apparently these are quite collectible because there's a lot of followers of the Nicholas Brothers, but they weren't really big in terms of being on radio or recordings. However, they did make 78. So, Don, in your fabulous collection, do you happen to have any Nicholas Brothers?
I don't.
You don't?
I do have the soundtrack for Kid Millions. It was issued on an LP about 25, 30 years ago. You may know it. There's a soundtrack from another film on the other side. I can't recall what it is. But I think the Nicholas Brothers are on there, the tapping.
It's actually a microphone we need to. Okay, thank you. Colin, you said you...
I have the HMV, 1936, I think.
Wow.
That's one of the...
Freddie Gardner is the alto sax player, a very well-known British jazz musician.
Was it from one of the movies or was it just a song?
No, it's recorded in London
Oh, wow.
when they were over there.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so I found their popularity really seems to have taken off in the mid to late 1930s. They usually appeared in 2 to 3 films per year up until the late 1940s. One of my favorites, like when you're looking at clips to show in a presentation like this, there's lots out there. This one is one of my favorites. I like the song, and it's called Lucky Number. And they both sing and dance in this one. It's a little different than the last one. But they're walking into a radio studio. And it's funny how many movies were made of people entertaining in radio stations. So in the movie, they can show the tap dancing and everything else going on. But of course, if you were listening on the radio, you'd probably just hear a bunch of banging and singing. But this one has them trying to audition to get on a radio program. And I like the line that comes out. The announcer asks if they're professional. And Harold, the little one, he says, "Oh, we're way past that. We're amateurs." It starts off with that. It might get missed. But I think it really shows their ability to both sing and dance so effortlessly. And watch them. It's like they're always smiling. And every clip I've seen, at the end of the performance, they're like, nothing unusual. Like, they were just so fit and just so talented. So this one, what year is it from? I'm not sure.
Should I bring it up?
Yes, please. It's movie number 3. It's about 3 minutes long. But again, it'll show the.
Alright.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
I'm sorry. How did you come here?
We want to see Major Joe about something.
Are you professional?
Professional's nothing. We passed that stage.
Well, what are you?
We're amateurs.
Amateurs?
Yeah, we're the Nicholas brothers.
Oh, and what do you do for a living?
Oh, we sell lucky numbers.
Sell lucky numbers? You can't sell lucky numbers over the radio. No, what else do you do?
Oh, we sing. We dance.
All right, let's hear you sing.
Lucky number. Oh, dreaming of lucky numbers. Hoping that those lucky numbers will show for me. Numbers shine for you and me. Superstitious. Or even makes me suspicious. Table with 13 dishes. It should make me please. Heaven's peace. Hey, that's mommy. Yeah, man, we're open. Put my trust in good dust. Don't you know someday they bring you a seven? Or maybe a lucky 11. Oh, that you'd be in heaven. Lucky number for me.
I've seen that so many times, but I'm always amazed by it. I hope you enjoy it too. What a talent. It's so effortless. So that's a lucky number. Unfortunately, the brothers' career was often restrained by racism at the time, including being limited to film roles that they were given. Unlike their dancing peers such as Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly, they were never given a chance to increase their acting or singing abilities by playing in main roles. Hollywood often gave them what they called flash dancing sequences, but rarely there were character parts in the films. Apparently part of the reason for this is that the film censors in the southern states wanted to be able to edit out any black performers from the main movies. And so you'll often see in some of these clips, such as the ones I'm going to show with Glenn Miller, Glenn Miller's playing, and then it pans over to the Nicholas brothers. And apparently that was done so that they're not a direct part of the plot, and it was possible to edit out that part of the performance for the southern markets because there were Jim Crow laws, and it was just something that people in the southern states didn't want to see, sad to say. And that held back the ability of the Nicholas brothers to expand their career and become main performers. And at the same time, as I researched this, some of the really good dancers of the time were asked, well, how come, say Fred Astaire, how come you're not making a movie with the Nicholas brothers? And his comment was, the Nicholas brothers, are you crazy? Do you see the way they dance? It's like, you can't compete with that. So in a way it was praised that they were so good, but then at the same time, they weren't given the chance to really expand their careers to the way that others would have been at the time, which is really a shame. But at the same time, they did break a lot of stereotypes and made movies that to this day are still available. So it was a long, hard fight for them. But as I was reading about them, it sounds like that's part of the reason that a lot of people today would not know about the Nicholas brothers, whereas they would know about Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Gene Kelly and all the other dancers who were so big at the time. So it's just something to consider. But at the same time, I think it's a blessing, and thank God that they were allowed to make movies and that their talent was recognized for the period. Again, in researching this, I found the Nicholas brothers were often only allowed to mingle with their white audiences in the nightclubs after they did the performance. They were often told to remain in their dressing rooms until it was their time to come out and then do their act. And there's an interview I saw with them where apparently at the Cotton Club, they tried to get in, like to just walk through the front door, and there was a black security guard there, and he said, "You're not allowed in here." And the black security guard's job was to keep black people from going inside as part of the audience, even though they were the main act on the stage. It's kind of like incredible hypocrisy, but that's the way it was at the time. So what I want to do now is to move on to one of my favorite movies, which is Orchestra Wives, which is what originally got me interested in the Nicholas brothers years ago. And 20th Century basically wanted to capitalize on arguably the most popular band of the time, which was the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Have any of you seen the movie Orchestra Wives before? Don, of course, Don. Yeah, Colin. So it's about 3 people. It's like a minimal plot type thing. It's supposed to represent what it's like to be the wife of a musician in the 1940s and all the traveling that's involved. And it was a pretty grueling life. You're on the road most of the time, and you're playing one-night performances from one venue to another. And that's what the movie's about, basically. But the work in the Glenn Miller Orchestra playing one of their top songs of the day, it's I've Got a Gal in Kalamazoo. And when Glenn Miller and the singers finish performing, they'll pan over, and now the Nicholas brothers come in and do their act. And they even sing part of the song, too, which I thought they did a great job of. There's a few little things I'd like you to note, especially more in the beginning. You're going to see, as the camera starts off, there's a fellow standing up there playing stand-up bass. That's Jackie Gleason. It was one of his first a bit role that he had, and apparently he never even played stand-up bass. He played a lot of other instruments, but he didn't play bass. So they have him in there, and then Tex Beneke, the singer, walks over to the piano player and moves the paperwork that's on the piano to sort of tease him, and the piano player is Cesar Romero. And they weren't really members of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, but they were fit into the story at the time, so it makes it look like they're part of the band and playing. What else can I say? Tex Beneke and Marion Hutton, the singers, were very big at the time. Tex Beneke ended up taking over the Miller Orchestra in the late 1940s, and this was the last movie that Glenn Miller made, because after this he went into the Army, and I think in 1940, I think it was 1942, and then he was in a plane that was shot down in 1944.
Shot down.
Okay, maybe it wasn't shot down, but it was lost over the English Channel. He died in 1944. So this was the last Glenn Miller movie made. I decided to play the Glenn Miller part 2, only because I think probably a lot of you would like the music, and I found it was interesting. I have the record, but it's interesting to see them play this alternate version of the same song. And for me, with big band, it's like there's so much music there to capture on one little 78, is sometimes all the sounds blend together. But when you see a movie of it, you can see the individual instruments, the trombones, the saxophones, the singers, everything there. And to me, it just helps me appreciate the records a lot more, as it gives you a visual experience of it. So the film I'm going to show, it's a little longer. What have I got? It's about, I think, 7 or 8 minutes. But so the first half is going to be Glenn Miller, the orchestra, and then we'll move on to the Nicholas brothers, who bring their unique take on the song and conclude the film. So that is number 4.
Number 4, yeah.
Video number 4.
Okay.
I'm going to watch for Jackie Gleason and Cesar Romero in the beginning. No, not that one.
No? Says
Where's
number.
it? Do I have a title on it?
This one? Kalamazoo?
That's it. That's the one. Yeah, okay. Can we get the picture bigger?
Can we get the picture bigger or no?
Can you share the screen, please?
Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Hold on, we're trying to adjust the picture. That's there, that's good.
Okay, now you can go.
It looks big, better when it's big.
Share. Yeah. I don't know how to use it in effect. I don't know either. Okay.
Can we lower the sound just a bit? Thanks. And gotta get rid of that stuff. Jack, there it is.
Wait until you see her, you'll agree. My hometown gal's the only one for me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I got a gal in Kalamazoo. Don't wanna boast, but I know she's a toast of Kalamazoo, zoo, 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 zoo. Years have gone by. I liked her looks when I carried her books in Kalamazoo, zoo, 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 zoo. I'm gonna send a wire, hopping on a flight, leaving today. Am I dreaming? I can hear her screaming. I am Mr. Jackson. D-E-F-G-H. I got a gal. Where? In Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo. I don't wanna boast, but I know she's a toast of Kalamazoo. Zoo, 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 zoo. Years have gone by. My, how she grew. Man, did she grew. I liked her looks when I carried her books in Kalamazoo. Zoo, 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 zoo. I'm gonna send a wire. Hopping on a flyer. Leaving today. Am I dreaming? I can hear her screaming. Hiya, Mr. Jackson. Everything's okay. A-L-A-M-A-Z. Oh, what a gal. A real kipperoo. She's a fine chick. I'm gonna make my bid for the face kid I'm hurrying to. Going to Michigan to see the sweetest gal in Kalamazoo.
Isn't that something? I've heard
You know, I don't think it's fair to call them dancers or singers. They're more like singing gymnasts doing an Olympic routine.
Yeah, again, they were able to weave the Nicholas brothers into the plot to some degree, and then they weren't just dancing around, they were also singing, and you see the exact timing of everything. And I've heard it said it's like they could defy gravity. Just coordination. I never get tired of watching these films. So, thank God they were preserved on film. So, I have to be mindful of our time here. In order to sort of conclude, we're going to talk about the Nicholas brothers seemed to peak in the 1940s, from what I saw, but they would continue to perform in one form or another. And in the late 1940s, television started taking over. So even though they were starting to get, say, maybe in their late 40s, early 50s, they had many, many appearances on TV shows. I found them on Ed Sullivan, Dean Martin, Anne Margaret. There's all there were so many, I couldn't list them all here. And one of the clips I found, it was done in, I think, 1964. And at the time, Fayard was living in California, and Harold, the younger one, he was living in Paris. And it's not as though they kept in regular contact, but when they would get together for these performances, they could just rehearse for a couple of days, and then boom, they were dancing away like they had been years before. So they just kept their act together, kept performing, always kept fit. And then they ended up being trainers. They were teachers and helping young upcoming actors and actresses learn their craft. And two of the interesting people that they trained was Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson.
Wow.
And Mike Bryan asked me, did they happen to teach? And all, you can see some of the Michael Jackson moves in what the Nicholas brothers are doing. I found that a very interesting fact and not too well known. So sadly, Harold, the younger of the two, he passed away at age 79 on July 3rd, 2000 of a heart attack. He had minor surgery and then he got an infection and it claimed his life. Fayard lived to be 91 and he passed on January 24th, 2006 of pneumonia. They were both married about 3 times, but like part of the remarrying was that they had lost their wives. They're good family people. They have many kids that perform too. They certainly left their mark on the entertainment community. So I think it's amazing that these performances were preserved on film. They're available on YouTube. I'm going to be writing an article about this, and so I'll list all the films that were shown, and there's others. And I want to say too, there's a documentary of them. It came out in 1992. It's called We Sing and We Dance. It's about 50 minutes long and talks about their life story. There's interviews with them. And the funny thing that comes out is when you watch them in interviews, it's always Fayard, the older one, who does all the talking. And Harold, he just sort of goes along with it. And he doesn't talk unless he's addressed per se. And, well, what do you think of this? So it's funny that he was always sort of like a tutelage of his older brother. But they always worked together as a pair. To conclude today, what I'd like to do is show you a clip from a movie called Stormy Weather. And this came out in 1943, and it was billed as a, quote, all-colored production, which meant that it had only black performers in it. Some of the other acts were Lena Horne, Bill Robinson, he was famous dancer too, did movies with Shirley Temple, and Cab Calloway. And Cab Calloway starts off this clip. And if you've been impressed by the clips I've shown you, this is the best one. I've saved the best for last. On YouTube, someone's done a colorized version of the black and white movie. They did an excellent job of it. And it starts off with Cab Calloway singing a song, and they even have the words there so you could follow along to figure out what his scat talk is. And the most interesting thing about this is that it was done in one take. And they did confirm it several times. Now, there's multiple camera angles used. They said, yes, we did have cameras set up all over the place to change the angle of it, but it's done in one take. And again, you'll see they don't tire. And I'd like to point out that when you see them dancing around the orchestra, which, again, this is all live, totally live, you'll see one of the, I don't know if he's a saxophone player or he's playing a horn, you'll see him dodge out of the way off because he's afraid of being hit by one of the Nicholas brothers. But I guess they had to leave it in the film, they couldn't correct that. But I think you'll really like this performance, and it's my favorite of all of them. And Fred Astaire said, there was a quote, in his opinion, it's the greatest dance number I have ever seen on film. And that's coming from Fred Astaire, so it says a lot. So I've built it up a lot. I don't normally like to say, this is really good. This one is. So this would be movie number 5.
Okay.
It's in color.
This one?
That's it, Stormy Weather. So it starts off with Cab Calloway. Yeah, we'll get there.
It's like.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on.
Well, this time we have sound, but no picture. Mark to the rescue.
Okay, let me just figure this out.
I was going to say about the movie.
Okay, got an idea.
Looks like you got it there.
No, with something else.
Apparently Fats Waller was also in the movie. There was A lot of black artists of the time, that's it.
Yeah. Was he black? Was he ever black? He what? He was, yes, it was black. That's all it was black. Last time I checked. Then something.
Okay. There's one more possibility.
Jesus.
Well, these are the things you never want to have happen when you're doing a presentation.
Which is this here, right?
It was number 5.
Oh, let me just-
That's it, that one right there.
Yeah, I just got sitting through my records. Yeah, that's the wrong places.
Don't worry. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
So apparently this was a 20th century Fox presentation, and it was aimed more at black markets, but it's just equally loved by everybody. I've only seen this part of the movie, but when you read about who else was in it, I thought that would be a great movie to see the entire thing. But they saved in the movie the Nicholas brothers for the
Drinking
ending.
warm water before bed helps release heat while you sleep.
Sorry, but
Apparently, thousands of people are already doing this.
Here we go. Thanks, Mark.
oh no, we're not there yet.
No, we're not?
Okay, I gotta share. I'm just gonna play it off YouTube.
Sure, if you can.
That should be it there. Okay.
Can we get it anywhere?
Wait, do you want a bigger?
Yeah, yeah, bigger picture. That's the biggest you can get it?
What if we press this here?
Can you pull
Make
it?
it full screen, that might cover up that.
It's okay. All right, perfect, thanks. Isn't the colorization great? You'll never know it's a colorized movie.
Everybody ready?
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the. Okay, we got to stop this. Probably an ad coming up.
Okay, where's? Come on. There we go.
That's the problem when you download from YouTube.
No,
anyway,
that was playing live.
Was that it? Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my presentation of the Nicholas Brothers and you got an idea of the talent that they had, and maybe you'll do a little more research yourself and find out there's so much more of their material out there. And I enjoyed putting it together for you and sharing it on this day. Thank you. And so now we're going to take a break, about probably 15 or 20 minutes. And Mike, you're going to go along with the camera and show what's on the auction tables. And so please bear with us, and our auction will continue. And we also have the 50-50 draw happening in the room. Just see Don Kelly.
Okay, I'll
bring it up. I'll bring it up.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And thank you to those on Zoom who joined us.
Yeah.
I feel tired after watching them.